Hi friends, Kelly Short Raspberry here. The last time we met, we had some discussions about social emotional learning. I shared with you where social emotional learning attributed from, that collaborative for academic, social, and emotional learning. I also shared with you the exact definition that we were able to obtain from that conference that happened back in the 90s. And those 5 competencies that encompass social emotional learning. But most importantly, I shared with you the reasons why social emotional learning is so incredibly important. It can increase academic scores with our students, their behavior can get better, it increases their likelihood to graduate and attend college. And my favorite piece is that neurological piece that hopefully we'll be able to dig in a little bit deeper. But today I wanted to focus on one individual competency, and that being relationship skills. And when we're back in the classroom, relationship skills are pretty easy to foster, right? We get our students collaborating, we get them working in groups, we practice what it means to work as a team. What does that look like? What does that sound like? And we get students interested in wanting to attend, outside activities and be a part of groups and sporting events and things that happen outside the classroom. But in today's current COVID-19 world, building relationships can look a little bit different. How do you build relationships with students when we're simply in an online setting? And that can be a challenge. So that's the question that I'd like you to think about today. How are you building relationships with your students? And one really easy way is to include them and make them feel involved. And almost as if we're creating a show and tell time, because we're not in front of each other and we're not in classrooms anymore. Students aren't necessarily able to share with their friends and other students what's been happening to them, how they've been feeling. And so as classroom teachers, we have to get really creative about, well, how do we set up an opportunity outside of learning where students can just share and they can be themselves. So one way, a very simple way, is just to have them share maybe some pictures of what's been happening. We know that students are always on their cell phones. They're always taking pictures of things. So maybe just creating almost like a digital bulletin board that would allow your students to actually post either little videos of themselves, maybe dancing or acting silly, or just posting pictures of things that they've been taking pictures of, things that are making them happy. Padlet is a great example of a free resource that teachers can sign up for to set up that bulletin board scenario in a virtual setting. In this example, students could post those pictures or videos or maybe even articles or documents that they found online that they're really interested in, so that throughout that distance learning, maybe over the week, you could provide that time or opportunity for students to then talk about what they posted and why it's important to them. These are great ways to build relationships with our students in a virtual setting. A resource that you may find helpful to strengthen relationship skills with students is this resource called Have You Filled a Bucket Today? A Guide to Daily Happiness for Kids by Carol McCloud. It's a unique read to get students to think about always carrying around an invisible bucket and all the ways that they can fill their bucket to make themselves happy, but also the ways that they could make others happy and fill their bucket. It also mentions being a bucket dipper, and basically that's just when you're saying mean things to someone or you're doing mean things to someone, and therefore then you take their happiness away. So the key here is to get students to think about all the different ways that they could be bucket fillers, not only for their own buckets, but for other people's buckets, really strengthening those relationship skills. So this could be a very great way to talk with students about what it means to be a bucket filler, what it means to be a bucket dipper, and also just getting them to think about what they could do to be more bucket fillers. And so here are some examples of ways that you could spark those random acts of kindness in our students. Teachers could create anonymous accomplishment boards, like this example with the title, "Be Somebody Who Makes Everybody Feel Like Somebody," and allow students to post anonymous messages, whether it's about another student in class, something that somebody did for them that they noticed, that maybe nobody talked about. So just different ways that we can get our students to be strengthening those relationship skills. Here's another example of a title with fourth graders are bucket fillers. So a fourth grade teacher who decided to use the bucket filling book to talk with students and allow them to post different opportunities of when they noticed somebody filling someone else's bucket. So have you filled your bucket today? I'd like to know what ways you're building and strengthening relationships with your students. And so to continue this discourse, I'd like for you to fill out maybe the comments below and list out some ways that you're strengthening those relationships with your students during this distance learning time. I can't wait to chat with you again next time. Take care.